Good evenings, Cape Flat Stories. Hope you guys are good. Hoop het gaan goed saam met julle. Ons sit in die donkerte in die Kaap in. Jy het die ligte afgesit, but you know that is South Africa, that is Cape Town. We got used to that. So in the studio, I have a very special guest with me. She's very active on the Cape Flat. She's one of those women dat sy sien dan sien jy daar is sy sien hier is sy dan is sy daar. Sy's oral, sy's soos 'n rocket oral en sy help vir almal. So we are going to interview tonight Samima Dolly Sali. She is an advocate. Ek dink ek kan hy sê she is a counselor. She's with the Al Jamaa Party. But she will introduce herself and we will talk about a few things on the Cape Flats and in South Africa as general. You know, one of the mistakes I've made, and I do apologize, I interviewed a lot of male politicians and that was wrong of me. En julle weet ek vat my pak soos 'n man. And I want to start this new segment where we have women in politics as well, because I think our women are capable of also leading. We shouldn't underestimate them. So with any further ado, in the studio, I have Samima Dolly. Guys, please share this live. Please, comment. Please ask questions. It's important for us to keep the political chats going. I believe there's good politicians out there. Good evening, Samima. Welcome to Cape Flat Stories.
Hi, assalamu alaikum. Good evening, Moene to everybody. Baie lekker om hier te wees.
Thank you. There's been a while. I have asked you, and we both were actually busy, but I'm glad that I got you in tonight. And I hope it's not the last time because there's such a lot of information that we need to share with the people. But just tell people, wie is Samima Sali? Wie is die vrou wat ons almal sien wat besig is?
Yeah, I always get uncomfortable with this question because I feel like a bitchy van 'n break book. But okay, let's try to be modest. Okay, well, ek het baie ou parents. My mother's 92, my pa's 90 gewees het die jaar. He died 2 years ago. So coming from very humble background, Stan, first 4 years of my life, I lived in Pontyville. Then we moved to Mitchell's Plain, lived in Mitchell's Plain until I was 13, went to Wynberg when I was 13. Maar ek was wel een van die mense wat soos 'n krief is, man. Ek het die eerste keer wat ek drag sien was in die Wynberg in, nie in die Plain in nie. Toe het ek getrek van Wynberg, Woodlands High toe. So I finished my matric year at Woodlands High. Now who does that? You understand?
Yeah.
But that's my people, man. That is where I come from. That's my roots. Yeah. Anyway, so daddy was a painter, mommy was a dressmaker. Daar was baie tyd wat die kos was op die tafel nie. So mommy used to sew, daddy used to paint. And alhamdulillah, you ate peanut butter and bread, droe brood geëet. So we know about the struggle, you know. Yeah. And I was also in Mitchell's Plain at the time of, I was born in the time of apartheid, 1974. My ma was die vrou wat die kinders in die dakke weggesteek het as die Caspers en die boere vir hulle soek. Ek was die kleintjie wat hulle dak toe gevat het. So ek ken van die Caspers wat op die skole geskiet het en ja, ek was daai soet gesiggie wat al die mense aangevang het in die SRC, who was the first one that nobody would think was involved in sorting certain things out in the apartheid system, etc. But yes, I was there. Decided to study law. That was, I had some good educators, pushed me to study law, though I wanted to be a pediatric nurse. I think I just always wanted to help people. I just always loved people and I wanted to always help our community. Studied law and I went in as a state advocate, right? And after state advocate, was like a family advocate. I was working in justice for nearly 20 years and then I resigned. Resign from justice, want ek het first in die fraud and corruption gesien. Ek weet wat in die polisiestasie aangaan en in die dockets aangaan en in die howe aangaan. And when I resigned in 2015, I then worked just solely helping our communities. NPOs, Hajj and Umrah, education. That's where I've been. And then I kind of always knew I'm going to go into politics at some time or other. I think it's in the blood as well. One, helping the community. I come from generations of families who has been helping the community. I come from generations of family who has been involved with politics. So you talk about the late Sisi Gul, Dr. Abdurrahman, Haji Muhammad Dolly, they was almal my direct family, right? Wow. So like I said, it's in the blood. I knew I was going to go into politics because the reality is, if you're in justice as a state advocate of as a family advocate, jy doen your job, jy help die mense
Mm-mm.
soveel as wat jy kan. But you
Yeah.
cannot effect the change, you get muzzled. Jy moet stil bly,
Mm-mm.
you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm one of those people that you can muzzle. I will never stand for injustice. Never.
Mm.
And
Mm-mm.
that is when I decided, right, it's time to go into politics. But you know what, Stan? I got so many job offers in justice when I resigned. I was always
Mm-mm.
headhunted. But God always closed those doors. Things that
Mm.
I really wanted, I got offered the position of senior prosecutor for the whole Western
Mm.
Cape with regard to
Wow.
maintenance and domestic violence matters, etc. It was
Yeah.
something I always wanted. But
Mm-mm.
at the time, I said to God, God, Allah, if this is what is meant for me, put it in my
Mm-mm.
way. If not, take it out of my way.
Mm-mm.
En God would take those things out of my way toe dit by politics kom. En
Yeah.
kyk, ek gaan nie dit mos vir my omtrent genek, Shamima, I want you here, you know.
Mm-mm.
And when it came to the political system, it was the one, even when I said, yeah, Allah, if this is meant for me, open the doors. If it's not, shut. Ek gaan nie dink die
Mm-mm.
deure gaan weer toe.
Yeah.
That doors kept opening. It was
Wow.
where Allah wanted me. And right now, I'm actually able to do what I love in a party that allows me the ability to help our community and who
Mm-mm.
encourages me as a woman and who
Yeah.
respects me as a
Wow.
woman and who respects my religion.
Yeah.
And that for me is very important.
Mm-mm. And I think it's very important that in a lot of male-dominated positions, it's difficult for our females to live their dreams. So that is one thing I have to give to Al Jamal for allowing you to live your dreams, to be amongst your people. Working on the Cape Flats, and I know you're very active in quite a few areas on the Cape Flats.
Yes.
What is the worst thing what is the first thing that we need to look at? I mean, over the weekend, nearly 20 people died. We are killing cops. We've become a ruthless people. What is the things that should change?
Stan, you just
Mm,
thinking about it, I start getting anxious. My
mm,
heart starts breaking. I feel
mm,
teary eyed. Going into our communities, for me, the saddest part, and Cape Flats is my people, right?
mm,
For me, the saddest thing is when I'm in a community and I see our children
mm.
zoned out
Yeah.
from from a very young age, that
Mm,
drugs has gotten hold of them, gangsterism has gotten hold of them. They look at you, but they don't
mm,
see you.
mm.
You talk to them, but you can't reach them.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart
Mm,
because I feel that there's been a culture created to keep our communities down at the bottom, to
yeah.
keep us submissive. And
Mm.
our people don't realize that we have so much potential. We
That's
should
right.
not be at the bottom. We should
Mm,
stop being the working horse. Let's put it that way.
mm,
Especially also colors.
mm,
Also,
mm.
we the working horses. We
That's right.
always the people working hard. And I think I just feel that our people starting to give up and losing hope. And
Mm,
the sad part is when I see these gangsters
mm,
killing
mm,
their own mothers, their fathers,
mm.
their sisters, brothers, their aunties, wat vir hulle
Yeah.
gehelp van kleins af. We are a nation that is losing empathy. And that for me is a major concern. But
Mm.
what I al-
Guys, it looks to me as I've lost her now. Um, I think I lost her just there, but she will probably join us now.
also
Hope you
see,
guys are well. There we go. I lost you there. You back now?
Hi, Stan. I think we lost each other there for a bit. Can you hear me? Hi, Stan.
Go. Apologies. I think with the load setting, maybe the
Yes.
network was a bit slower, but you're back now.
Okay. Okay.
But you
Don't
can
stress.
quickly
We'll just go with the flow with it.
just go with the
But
flow.
yeah, now go with the flow, my bro.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I'm worried about facts like the churches is quiet. The mosque is only in full capacity during Ramadan and on a Friday. Alhamdulillah op die flats sien ek nog baie kinders gaan madrasa toe. You know, but these things are
Mm,
what keeps our communities together.
mm,
Faith. And we're
mm,
starting to lose that. When our people stop having faith, when they stop going to churches and to mosques, where
mm.
else are we going to learn that empathy? Want ons kinders kry dit nie by die huisie. Van
That's
die
right.
ouers is in a predicament. They
Mm,
unemployed, they depressed, they on
mm,
drugs, there's alcohol abuse, there's all kinds of things holding us away from that which is actually important and that
mm.
allows for us to grow as a
Yeah.
person. And even on our schools, I mean, ek ken
Mm,
our father, hy het dit
yeah.
geleer op die skool. But even at the schools, we are teaching our
Mm,
children that which is not good for them at this stage.
yeah.
Morals and ethics is lost. We need morals and ethics to be brought back.
Yeah.
Vandag se kinders, hoeveel van ons kinders groet ons? Salam
Mm,
alaikum. Good morning,
yeah.
goeiemôre. As ons op 'n bus klim, does our kids learn to stand up when they see an elder person or a pregnant
That's right.
person? Hulle
Mm,
sit aan, you know?
yes.
So the basics of our communities are being lost and we allowing it. I think that it's fine to blame government and
Mm,
city. Look, they
mm,
all are responsible in their own way for what our people is sitting with.
mm.
But we need to take our communities back, Stan.
That's right.
And we need to tell them,
Mm,
hell no.
mm,
Ons gaan nie deur die stronte en julle gaan nie vir ons afhou nie.
mm,
And we need to continue to fight for our rights and for
mm.
equality. I mean, the
That's
way
right.
I see it, having grown up for example, in Mitchell's Plain, we lived in Portlands first and then we lived in Woodlands. But
Mm,
coming in, we were still living in an area. What was the first things that they did back then? They made sure that there were schools, sure
that's
that there
right.
was clinics.
Mm,
What is happening now?
mm,
Hulle bou plekke soos New Horizons, daar in die
yeah.
Kuils River bou hulle plekke, maar wat doen hulle? Bou, maar daar's niks skole vir die kinders nie.
That's right.
So what
Mm,
happens? Our children has to be parents that doesn't even have money to put bread on the table
mm,
must transport their children to other schools out of the area. The parent can only do that to a certain point before they run out of cash. How many days of school does that child miss?
mm, mm.
I'm watching as kids within an area is refused access to a school while children from other areas comes in. And that's not on because they're taking away the education from our kids. They're taking job opportunities away from our people. Hulle smyt ons mense ver weg waar die
Mm.
opportunities is. Why? Mitchell's Plain was supposed to be a hub of activity, of
That's right.
employment, of so
Mm,
many promises made. I see
mm,
Mitchell's Plain growing with backyard dwellers, met
mm,
shacks, met alles.
mm,
Almal word net gesmyt in die plein
mm,
en in New Horizons and everywhere else but away from the city. This has
mm.
been going on for generations. En
That's
ek
right.
kan nie verstaan hoekom ons mense dit net moet slukkie. Why must we always be the ones who are just accepting of what is happening? I'm saying stop accepting. Our people also need to realize keep the money within the area and grow the area and
Mm,
improve the area. Instead,
that's right.
gaan julle buite, you spend
Mm,
your money on other sectors, you
mm,
make
mm.
them rich.
That's right.
Make the community that you in rich.
Mm,
There's so many things out, as you know, Stan, I'm involved with a lot of things.
mm,
So one of the things is, yes, we do feeding in a
mm,
variety of communities, but I don't believe that we need to have a a dependent community. Because if we are feeding people when are they going to have the dignity in order to feed themselves and their families? You know? So
Mm.
that is the one thing. So how do we as a person help each other? Waar is die daar van jou kind is my kind?
That's
Right?
right. Mm.
When a neighbor, I mean, in our religion, and I know in the Christian religion as well, I grew up with Christians, Muslims, Jews, and we were in and out by each other's homes. Ek het my
Mm.
Kersfeespresent gekry. My
Yeah.
vriende het hulle slaafwats gekry. Hulle het
Mm.
hulle barakat gekry. We
Yeah.
had unity in our communities.
Mm.
If the titi or the boeta of uncle langsaan die kos het nie, maak ons verseker hulle het kos en dan moe ons aan om verseker die next persoon is ook uitgesorg.
That's right. Mm.
Education. Why can't we help each other to ensure the education of more children? I'm going to
Mm.
give you an example, just one of the NPOs that I'm involved with. We've got this Rand 20 project
Yeah.
where every person gives a 20 Rand a month. Nou,
Okay.
20 rand is nie baie nie,
Mm.
but at the end of the day, we take a child, not a kind wat 'n A en 'n B slat nie, want hy
Mm.
is 'n kinders wat 'n bietjie miskien meer help het. We're looking for that child who is eager but comes from a home where they don't have opportunities and maybe they're the C and D kid, right?
Yeah.
But we grant them the opportunity to study further and we help the family in the process. If that child comes from a family of, say, 7, and that child has an education, we place that child in a position to look after that family.
Wow.
And to ensure that that child is then in a position to help others. Now Stan, ek is een van daai kinders. But it's a situation gekom het
Yeah.
where like I said to you, I know van peanut butter and bread. Ek het van 15 jaar oud begin te werk. Ek
Ja.
werk nog altyd, right? I studied law, but there was niks handouts hier. There was
Ja.
nobody giving me handouts. I had to work super hard in order to get that degree. Once
Yes.
and I got small bursaries, and up until today, those institutions that gave me a bursary, even my husband, we are still every month giving money back so that more kids can learn,
Wow.
more kids can study
Wow.
further. And this is, you know what? If you, I mean, take politics aside, I say, you get the normal politicians that we're all accustomed to. Die wat lieg, breek en steel. Steeds soos hulle is. Ek is kwaier as jou. Rooi huis, blou huis, geel huis. Groen huis. Ons is kwaier as jou. I don't have time for that nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you also noticed, I've crossed barriers on political parties. So I work together with other politicians as well. But it's mense met goeie harte, man.
That's
People
right.
with hearts of gold who wants to help communities. I think that what our people needs to realize, los die geel huis, rooi huis, blou huis en alle huise.
Yeah.
But where we are at now, people, asseblief kan hulle realize you need to make sure that people start working together because we cannot have dictatorships anymore. ANC,
That's right.
DA, whoever. If you give one political party too many votes,
Yeah.
they sit with a dictatorship. And even when I want to assist you or other parties want to assist you, we don't have enough votes to knock out that what is bad for you. So at the end of the day, if we level the playing fields and we ensure co-governance, what happens? Daai parties moet almal werk vir daai votes. Because it gaan nie maklik wees om te sê, right, I can just build a house in Mitchell's Plain on city land or whatever. You're going to be held accountable and there's going to be transparency because why? Jy kan uitgewoud word vir wat jy doen.
That's
So
right.
this is what up, and I think education to our people is very, very important.
Yeah.
So now the one thing is the feeding, it's the education that I'm doing, but I also believing in, you know what, there's a lot of people that assist us in our party because we try to do, you know, I'm all over. So there's the service delivery situation. Now, as a legal person, Stan, I will follow protocols first because that is in the system. But that's what I'm not a cowboy. You won't see me just jumping onto social media and say, oh, this one did this and that one did that. That's not my style. I follow protocols and you have an email trail. And once I have my email trail, then I'm going to knock you if you didn't do your job. Give you example, Book Makiri. Het jy
Yeah.
gesien hoe lyk Makeri?
Mm.
Die lang
Mm.
gras, die crime, die
Yeah.
prostitution. Het jy
Mm.
ooit gesien gatte wat in 'n grond gediek word en waar
Mm.
mense hulle ding doen as 'n
Yeah.
drugden op veld
Mm.
waar daar 'n
Mm.
parkie is?
Yeah.
So this was all elevated to the city, protocols was followed, etc. Nothing was done.
Yeah.
Only then did I go to social media,
Mm.
right? And now what are we seeing? Now they're running to come and
Mm.
assist and to clean
Yeah.
up. And I think that is what needs to be done. We shouldn't play politics, you
That's right.
know, because I think a lot of people forgets that you have your politicians, but the people in the city, they didn't vote for a particular party. They
Mm.
like me and you. Hulle het vir
That's right.
verskillende mense
Mm.
gevout. But
Yeah.
they're sitting in a position where that is their bread and butter that they need to put on the table in their
Mm.
homes. So they got
Yeah.
to do what they instructed.
Mm.
So follow the protocols, dan slatos. You
That's
know,
right.
and that is basically how we do it, you know, as well.
Mm.
There's so much happening. I mean, I'm seeing suicides being committed, right?
Mhm.
I'm going in, people's calling in for suicides that's being committed
Yeah.
because our people are so depressed, they are so down.
Mm.
I don't want to say I would, because I'm not alone. Even
Mm.
if it appears that Shamima's doing this and Shamima's doing that.
Yeah.
No, we are a community and we a team, and we
Mm.
cannot do things unless we work together.
That's right.
Sometimes I feel that I'm like one person running everywhere, and it does look like that. But
Mm.
you know, I'm grateful to God. He always sends these amazing people our way in order
Yeah.
to assist in doing
Mm.
good for the
Yeah.
community. So the we had a mental wellness program as well in one of the areas, and we
Mm.
brought in the professionals to come and speak to the people
Mm.
and to give them entertainment. What people don't also understand these areas where those people can't even afford to go to the waterfront, to go to Cape Town, that is healthy. So
Mm.
what do? You bring the entertainment to them. You
Mm.
bring hope to them. You bring the
Yeah.
education to them. And that
Mm.
is one of the things we need to do. There are so many opportunities out there for young people, the TVET colleges, etc. Our
Mm.
young kids don't know that.
Mm.
They are expected to go to these places. We need to bring these places out to our children so that they can see that even if they don't have money, that there
Yeah.
is hope for them to study further.
Mm.
And I think we have a responsibility, each one of us has a responsibility to uplift and empower our communities. Ek sê nie vat 'n 100 mense en uplift 'n 100 mense nie.
Yeah.
If you can help one person
That's right.
and that person can help
Mm.
one person, you understand? We can
Yeah.
do so much. And
That's
we
right.
don't have to rely on government and the city, etc.
Mm.
Ons kan hulle
Mm.
saam, we can together, we can take them on,
Mm.
and we can
Yeah.
ensure that the rightful thing is
Mm.
done for our people.
That's right.
And in my own way, I'm just trying to do all of that, and that is why you see me everywhere.
Yeah. But it's a good thing. And I think also, like you said, is if we can find a way to work together. The fight that we are fighting is not a one man battle. You're gonna need more of us. There's gonna be more people that's gonna have, and like you said, there's good people in the ANCC, there's good people in the DA, in the PA, wherever. And I
Yes.
think if that people is willing to work together, because we're fighting the same demons. You are from the Cape Flats, and many of those now currently in Parliament are in the Cape Flats, are from the Cape Flats. And I think we understand the plight. We have a big problem. We have a big issue. The longer we wait to fight, the more difficult it becomes. But I want to just touch on something that you've mentioned now, that
Mm.
mental health issues is big amongst the people on the Cape Flats, and also mense skaam om oor te praat. Nie daar's niks verkeerd saam met my nie. Ek was alright. But I think many of these things stems from mental health issues. I grew up, broken men raise broken families, and that is what I feel in where I come from. And I think this is something we need to advocate. Mental health. How do you see this? Because these young men, I mean,
Mm.
people don't become gangsters because they want to become gangsters. They don't do drugs because they want to do drugs, or they don't do alcohol. They do it because the inner person wants to escape the reality. And I think that is part of the mental health issue. How do you find this on the Cape Flats? I think it's something that we really need to dig into.
No, absolutely. It's something that, look, we see it all the time. Just think of it. That baby is not born a drug addict. He's not
That's right.
born an alcoholic.
Mm-mm,
There's a lot of the situation, the environment. There's a lot of factors that
yeah.
impacts on that child in from the developmental stage in a home, right? Maybe there was no father,
Mm-mm,
there was no mother. The child was raised by grandparents or guardians, or the child ended up having to fend for themselves.
mm-mm,
Who took them in? How does the gangsters lure these children into a
mm-mm,
cocoon? Either
mm-mm.
by promises,
That's right.
alternatively by threats, and the
Mm-mm,
child sees no other option. If I'm not
mm-mm,
going to be a gangster, if I don't choose a side, then I'm
mm-mm.
going to be taken out. So they
That's right.
join out of fear. They
Mm-mm.
join out of the fact that they've got no other mentor and they see that gangster as a potential father figure.
That's right.
They get attention, they get
Mm-mm,
affection from those individuals.
mm-mm,
So that is where I come in against that. It's a matter of that auntie and that titi. My
mm-mm.
child is your child is my child.
That's right.
That needs to come back. Let's start
Mm-mm,
off with that.
mm-mm.
Now, everybody says it's not the teacher's job to do X, Y, and Z, but
Mm,
we all have a responsibility. Your
that's
first
right.
educator is your parents.
That's right.
Your mother was normally the
Mm,
nurturer. And you spoke
yeah.
about something very important. Our culture notes the woman is the mother, the nurturer, the caregiver.
Mm-mm,
The father is the breadwinner, right?
that's right.
And many a time, what is done to a man? Wat so 'n
Mm-mm,
man is doen, jy kan nie agter jou familie kykie,
mm,
right? So skoonma, skoonpa, wie ever, almal druk jou neer, right?
that's right.
That's what happens. So what do? Fine, ek is 'n niks en 'n nothing nie. So you look for an
Mm-mm,
outlet. So there's teenagers looking for outlets. There's children. I mean, let's face it. Our very
mm-mm,
young kids are sitting in that situation. How do we save them?
yeah.
I've looked at this on the Cape Flats. I've seen teenagers, not that we want to give up hope on them.
Yeah.
No, you can never give up hope on them because there's
Mm-mm,
always the possibility of bringing them back. But mental health, where does it start? Capture those kids on primary school.
mm,
You will find if you have an educator who gives you that love, that
mm-mm,
nurturing, that motivation, that
mm-mm,
encouragement, right?
yeah.
It's unbelievable what you are able to do. Stan, I'm
That's
just
right.
going to give you an example.
Mm-mm,
I also assist with orphanages and
yeah.
foster care children, and I also
Mm-mm,
assist with the deaf and the
mm-mm,
mentally challenged. So let's
mm-mm,
just go to the orphanages and foster care. Of those foster care kids, I go and visit, right?
mm-mm,
Now, these kids, then the foster mother will actually phone me and say, Shamima, kykie, die ene wat die huiswerk gedoen het, sy is heeltyd op TikTok, blah, blah, blah.
mm-mm,
Dan is Shamima die ander ma. Then I
yeah.
come in. The moment Shamima comes and visit,
Mm-mm,
hoe is haar huiswerk weer klaar gedoen? Daar kry
yeah.
ons
Yeah.
weer so A's en is a B's and whatever.
Mm-mm,
It
mm-mm,
is that motivation, even if it comes from somebody outside of that
mm-mm,
home or
that's
in the
right.
school. But I
Mm,
do understand that our educators' plight is really heavy. Sitting with
mm-mm,
classes of 40 to 60 kids, it's
mm,
no joke. It's no
yes.
flippant joke. It's
Mm-mm,
unacceptable. What the
yes.
Department of Education is doing with our young people, I mean, come on, Sam, that's another thing I want to touch. Yes, I'm in the city, but as a
Mm-mm,
national spokesperson, as someone who's been in law, as someone who's been
mm,
fighting for our people for many, many years,
yeah.
the Department of Education's failure to place students, they are
Mm-mm,
effing up our children's education.
that's
I'm
right.
sitting with kids who for 3 years hasn't
Mm-mm,
attended school. I
yeah.
have sitting with kids who are supposed to be on high school, but
Yeah.
every time they say rejected, rejected, rejected.
Mm,
Hoe lank gaan
mm,
jy 'n kind reject?
yes.
The years is going on. Daai
Mm-mm,
arme ouma, oupa en wie ewe moet met daai kind sit.
yeah.
It's unacceptable because they're messing with the constitutional rights of
That's
the
right.
children with regard to their education. So
Mm-mm,
that's also another aspect. But we have to capture these kids on
mm-mm,
primary schools and put in
yeah.
the safety nets for them from primary
Mm-mm,
school. We
that's
need to
right.
get mentors in for them at
Mm-mm,
primary school level, as well as you remember good old days when we had this these was it so wat het hulle geroep man, nie social workers nie, there was a name for them
Mm-mm.
that
It
we
was the inspectors.
ek kan nie met die naam kom nie man, but
Mm-mm.
it was an individual that the child could go to on primary
Yeah,
school and high
yeah,
school if they have any issues.
yeah.
So this is needed. I don't
Mm-mm.
understand why, if you have so many psychologists, so many social workers, we don't have these social workers based at every school. It's a job
That's right.
opportunity, number one, and it's an
Mm,
opportunity to capture that child who is in difficulty and also
yeah,
to put the child in a safe space from primary school level if they are facing difficulty.
yeah.
So these are, there we go, Shukran Wafika Adams, a guidance counselor. So that is what they called it back in the days. But
Mm-mm.
I don't now know. Now, once again, to the listeners, you out there, why was everything that worked removed?
Mm,
Our kids used to know, I mean, I was one of them, primary school, high
mm.
school, we got our books for free, right?
Yes, yes,
Right to an
yes.
education. Now you
Mm-mm.
tell me, say, 'n kind die ma en pa moet skoolklere koop, right?
Yeah.
Hulle moet skoolboeke koop. They must
Mm,
buy stationery. These are things that we have received before.
yeah,
Some children don't want to go to school simply want hulle skoene stikken. Want die
yeah.
teachers tell hulle uit want hulle nie 'n boek en 'n pen nie. So all these things is a challenge. And I notice what Khadija Marcus is saying, absolutely correct. One of the other things that is happening is that our children is being tempted with all the
Mm-mm.
niceties of the world by
That's
the
right.
gangsters. Kyk die kwai
Mm,
skoene, jy weet ek jak
yeah.
lekker en Nikes en Adidas and
Mm,
whatever. But how long is that going to last? Once
mm,
they've grasped you, once they've captured you, it's
mm-mm.
very difficult to get these kids out. So primary school it starts, but we need those mentors to
Yeah,
move with the child into the most crucial stages, grade
yeah.
7, grade 8, and high
Mm,
school.
yeah.
We need mentors to come out and come and help. Moet
Mm-mm.
jy net op social media complain nie. Ons
That's
soek hy
right.
mense en hy mentors en hy mummies wat moet uitkom en kon help.
Mm-mm.
I must also say, I'm having an event on Saturday.
Mm-mm.
Just a little bit of a thank you to the walking bus ladies in the area, one of the areas that I work in. Because earlier this year, 1 minute was daar 'n walking bus wat gebetaal was vir. The next minute,
Yes,
it was taken
yes.
away. And
Mm-mm.
these individuals did a flipping amazing job. En ek sê dit
Mm.
net soos dit is. To
Yes,
take
yes.
those kids to school, to guard those children, to make sure they get home safely. Hulle was
Yeah.
die tities, die aunties, wat die gangsters so
Mm-mm.
eendag uitgeskel het. We
That's right.
need that, right?
Mm.
Why? Once again, take something
Mm.
away which was a benefit to our community. Those
That's right.
individuals that took the people to the clinics to get their SASA, to make sure that they are safe. Stan, I'm
Yeah.
sitting with people who has not been working for months, who
Yeah.
was part of the walking bus, and I'm going to honor them. And I'm going to give them, even as hulle van 'n ander party was, I don't
Mm-mm.
care. Bottom
Yes.
line is, if you are able to, for no money, still
Mm-mm.
have the heart to care
Mm.
about people, I will
Yes.
still honor you and I will
Mm.
still respect you. I honor and I respect the people who are honest, no matter which party they are, who are
Mm.
honest, who don't play political games, who are actually there for the people in order to help the people. Nie vir,
Mm-mm.
ek gaan vir jou help want ek wil vote sê nie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Must
Mm.
come from the heart.
That's
And
right.
I know who they are, you
Yeah.
know? And those people I admire and I respect them, you know? So
And you
yeah,
were and you were so right. The walking bus was a mechanism or a thing that really worked. I admire the aunties in Parkwood because in the mornings when I just drove through there, they would take the children from the different areas of Parkwood, take them to the schools, and they would wait till till the bell rings for the school to start. And later in
yeah,
the afternoon, they will come and fetch the kids again. I think that is an amazing system that really
yes,
was implemented. But the problem came in, and remember that people, when you do something like that, you can do it every day, but you also need a reimbursement. You also
yeah,
need something, because you need to put something on the table. So I think
yes,
it was good for the city or the government to give them money, but to take it away, really, some of them left because they had to find other work. And I think that
correct.
is something the mayor should actually relook at again. and see how they
Yes.
can help these people. Because, like you mentioned, just to go back, many of the adults, their trauma starts because of their childhood, and we need to catch them at a young age, at primary school, at high school, the critical moments in our community. Yes, some houses are dysfunctional, or most of the houses are, right? But that's where we need to come in as
Yes.
citizens of the Cape Flats and South Africa, Cape Town, and see
Yeah.
how we can help these kids. Because at the end of the day, if we don't help these kids, it's evident that they can become either druggies or gangsters. Do you know, Samima, you obviously saw this, how
Yeah.
many of our young men and women are walking around? You can take and see hulle is op drugs, hulle is op tik,
Yeah.
and that breaks a person's heart because it's healthy young people, but something went wrong, and some of them come from good homes.
No.
Something just went
True.
wrong, somewhere in their life, and I think that is what we need to understand, that our fight on the Cape Flats and amongst our people. And we sometimes, what happens is, like you mentioned earlier on, we need to also just that boundary between religion. I'm a Christian, you're a Muslim, we can't work
Yeah.
together. We need to stop that because we
Yeah.
used to work together. Like you mentioned, my best friend is a Muslim. We get along very well. We've been friends for more than 22, 23 years, and we're still friends. However, we need to stop that thing where we say, okay, you are on your own. Because
Yeah.
because we're on our own, we're losing our community. We're losing
Exactly.
young people, and we are the ones that are supposed to be the role models.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you know what? Social media can be a good thing and it can be a
Yes.
damn bad thing because it
Yes.
creates divisions.
Mm-mm.
But if we allow the divisions to be
Yeah,
created, then we are at fault.
that's right.
So the thing is, like you will see, like I said to you, I work with many parties, you can for Marvin and for Aslam and Amal van
Yeah.
hulle, and we get along absolutely fantastic. Like I will say to people, Marvin's my brother from another mother, that
Mm-mm.
type of thing.
Mm-mm.
But
Yeah.
dis mense wat ek nie tevore geken het nie. But at the end of the day, we have that respect for each other and the work that the other person does. Now, in our religion, and I'm sure in the Christian religion as well, it says, one for your brother and sister better than you want for
Mm-mm.
yourself. Right?
That's right.
Maar vandag is ons op bly die gasit.
That's right.
Waar we
Mm-mm.
forgot about that beautiful saying, and I try to live it.
Mm-mm.
One
Yeah.
for the next person better than for yourself,
Mm-mm.
because there's rewards in that. And if
Yeah.
you work to achieve for that person to have better than you, I
Mm-mm.
mean, at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody. So
That's
we
right.
need to really go back and reflect and look in our own homes and first say,
Mm-mm.
where are we going wrong? What
Yeah.
are we doing wrong? And then
Mm-mm.
move from there and try to start sorting things out.
Mm-mm.
But breaking
Mm-mm.
each other down, not going to
Mm-mm.
work, being judgerig, gaan nie
Yeah.
weekie. Want
Mm-mm.
elke huis het sy kruis, right?
That's right.
Daai is
Mm-mm.
reality. So gaan
Mm-mm.
vind uit wat gaan aan en hoe jy kan help.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Mima, we are now at the 40-minute mark. We still have a few minutes left, but I just want to give this to you. We spoke about gangsterism, we spoke about the social ills, we spoke about a lot of things, but as a politician lady, but I wouldn't say you're a politician. Yes, politician, but you're also a humanitarian, right? What would you say is the things, because there's a lot of parties now, and this is the reason of the show, is to educate our people.
Yeah.
What must we look for in a party? Because a lot of people say you must vote for us and vote for us, and if you don't vote for us, you're either a boss boy, you're this and that and that. It doesn't answer people's questions, and
Mm.
saying you're going to create jobs, it doesn't really answer questions. What are you going to
So,
do to create jobs? So, what is the things that people should look at? How do I select a party? How do I select, because me personally, because I work in the
yeah.
community, I see things, I look at what the party does. So, your advice to young people are there, to a grandmother, to a grandfather, and to parents?
At the end of the day, every political party has their own manifesto
Yeah.
that they say, this is what we're going to do. We promise housing, education, service delivery. Be realistic.
Mm.
Look at what they can actually achieve and what is just promises and empty promises at
Yeah.
that. There is political parties wat baie dinge oor gaan breek,
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to brag. I'm going to say it straight out.
Yeah.
Why I am with the party that I am is because it's a political party that's supposed to be for all communities and all religions. We are, and this is what our foundation is, we're based on morals and ethics, right?
Yeah.
And God first. Most importantly, God first.
Mm-mm.
I personally cannot be with a political party who's going to say things like, my religion doesn't
Mm-mm.
allow me to differentiate between color. Ek
Yeah.
gaan nie color sien van swart, wit, blou, groen, geel
Mm-mm.
nie. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
My religion says that no Arab is above another Arab. No tribe is above another tribe. So
Mm-mm.
I cannot judge people on the color,
Yeah.
on the class, on how rich or poor they are.
Mm-mm.
Everybody is equal before God. And that is how I see you.
Mm-mm.
God loves the poor. He loves the rich. I don't
That's right.
know that poor person what good deeds they do, or that wealthy person, even in their
Mm-mm.
wealth, what good deeds they do. So it's a matter of respecting everybody, and that's for me very, very important. And the realistic goals that the party is trying to achieve. Now, as a religious person, I need to be with a party who's going to ensure my
Mm-mm.
morals and my ethics
Yeah.
are secured. That
Mm-mm.
my religious beliefs, whether I'm Christian, Jewish, Muslim, that it is protected.
Mm-mm.
Because as I also spoke about earlier, our religion is being destroyed. It's being hammered. It's being
Mm-mm.
chopped. That which kept our foundation as a people, as a community together, is being destroyed.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who believes that our people needs to go to church. They need to
Yeah.
go to the synagogue. They need to go to the mosque. They need to
Mm-mm.
find God. Because in faith, it is faith that is going to keep us together. It is our
Yeah.
faith that is going to keep us on the right path. And it's our faith that is going to keep us conscious. If
Mm-mm.
you do not have God in your life, and if you're not God conscious as a party, whichever party it
Mm-mm.
is, how will you differentiate between
Mm-mm.
right and wrong?
Mm-mm.
That is very important. I need to be transparent, honest, and open on what I do. If something is happening in the city or in parliament or in the country, I need to be able to come out and say to you, this shit is happening. You know,
Mm-mm.
I need public participation currently in South Africa is a joke, people. It's a
That's
farce.
right.
When they say public participation, oh, you know what? We're building something in Wynberg or here or there. We need you to participate. As far as I'm concerned, it's a farce. They do not get out to everybody. How are they getting out to the poorest of the poor to find out what the opinion? Your
Mm-mm.
opinions of the minority is secured, but it means nothing. There's no changes that is actually affected. The vote
Yeah.
goes through, and even if you don't like it, that thing is still going to happen.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, one, be careful of dictatorships.
Mm.
Be careful of licht, break, and steal. If
Mm.
someone brags to you about, oh, we're going to do this and we're so quiet, all kinds of things,
Mm.
the Bible, the Quran, the prophets warned us about
Mm-mm.
those aspects. So
That's right.
look for, I don't put everything we do out there, Stan. And some people
Mm.
says, but your party must put everything. I'm
Yes.
so scared that my rewards from God is going to be taken away from me because I don't want to be seen as
That's right.
I'm bragging
Yes.
about
Yes.
things that I'm doing, right?
Mm-mm.
So be realistic, people. Don't allow for the dictatorships and the majority parties. Vote for the smaller parties, ensure co governance so that we can hold each other accountable and
Mm-mm.
make sure that if you are part of a political party, the tide is changing, right?
Mm-mm.
We need people who are capable, educated,
Mm.
honest, God
Yeah.
fearing to be in political parties.
Mm.
If they're not going to have that, and if they are going to have ulterior motives, you're not even going to know it. Don't be a sheep and just follow.
That's right.
Do your investigation. Jy het gehoor, ek het gevaar van blou team, groen team, rooi team, geel team
Mm.
en allerlei teams, right?
Mm-mm.
As
Mm.
soos die klops, right? En ek is
Yeah.
baie lief vir die klopse, right? So ek gaan saam met die klopse join and I'm getting you there. But at the end of the day, this is not even your soccer teams that we're watching.
mm,
If I vote for Manchester United or
mm,
Liverpool or whoever, that I must vote for them, win or lose. No,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no, no, no. Skrik wakker mense.
yes,
Educate yourself. Get to know
mm-mm,
the parties. Get to see what the work that they are actually doing. I
that's
mean,
right.
I see certain parties and I know certain parties that I think,
Mm,
I like what you're doing, and then
yeah,
other parties are thinking, yeah, salam, mense kan hulle maak julle oë oop. But
yeah,
I'm not here today to badmouth anybody. But I
yeah,
am here to tell you, please, Kanala, educate
mm,
yourself. Because if you make a bad decision and you vote poorly,
mm-mm,
you are responsible for the future generations. And
that's
whatever
right.
is to come, you would then have impacted on those generations to come. So you
Mm,
are accountable as well.
that's
So
right.
I have 5 kids, by the way, Stan, as hulle nie
Mm,
weet nie. Yes, al die goedes, and I've got 4 sons and a daughter.
wow.
And I'm conscious of the fact that as a
Mm,
parent, I've got to lead by example. And my
mm,
kids are already falling in love with working and helping communities. And I
wow.
love that. And I'm
Mm-mm,
going to encourage parents,
mm-mm,
please, if your kids wants to join and work in the communities, by all
mm,
means, let them
yeah,
work in NPOs, let them see the
yeah,
struggle. Yes, they see the struggle, but
mm,
when they are helping, they see the
that's right.
struggle in a different way where they
Mm,
learn empathy. So daai kinders wat op die pad is, as die tities besig
mm,
is om 'n feeding scheme te doen, sê vir hulle
yeah,
kom help
yes,
strooi articles, kom help
yes.
feed, whatever.
Mm-mm,
Small things like that. We are
mm-mm,
teaching our children invaluable skills.
that's right. And I think that innocence, we need to keep our children as innocent for long as possible.
Oh
Because,
yes.
ons kinders raak in die tyd wat ons in bly, social media, die TV, ons kinders raak baie vinnig groot.
Yeah.
And we need to also be very careful what we allow our kids to listen to see, and so on. Ek dink when we were young, there wasn't a lot of social media, and you could only watch TV if your parents allowed you to. And this is all values that we need to bring back into our homes. It's values like you've mentioned. We've given our responsibility
Mm.
solely to the government to raise
Yeah.
our kids, and I think we need to take that responsibility back as a people of Cape Town, of South Africa, and we need to say to ourselves, we need to raise our kids with godly values, irrespective of what religion you belong to. But I believe there's a lot of similarities when it comes to religions and to adding value. I think the other thing is this as well. We What we forget is that we are the majority, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to bring color into this, but
Mm.
as people from the Cape Flats,
Yes.
we were, I don't know how the stats is now, but we were the majority of people, of voters in Cape Town. That meant that we could have made, we could have gone to the table and said, "This is what we want." We could have told them, "We will only vote for you if you build more schools." We have been
Yes.
kept in the dark. I think that is one of the things that the Cape Flats was set up not to have schools. We shouldn't be
Mm.
educated.
Correct.
We can look at our parents, and we were supposed to have limited skills, limited education, and I think
Yes.
we need to step up and realize, find our value. The reason why we have so many things wrong in our communities is because we have stepped aside. A gentleman messaged me early this morning, and he said he works for SAPS, and this is what he said. He said, "Stan, we try to catch the criminals, but the
Mm.
people in the community, the aunties and uncles, cover for
Yeah.
these gangsters." And I
Oh
think that is
yes.
at the moment one of our biggest problems is that we are supposed to be transparent and people with integrity, but we cover for the gangsters. They give us food, they look after us, and I think, Samima, that is one of our biggest problems that we're having. More people are now really depending on the dark side of the Cape Flats than what it is, as what I understand. There is corrupt cops, but I think
Yeah.
also we need to stand up. And I just want
Correct.
to give over to you just to talk about hope. I think at the end of the day,
Mm.
a lot of people are hopeless with what's happening, but I think I do see, like you mentioned, if there's co-governance, I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. But it's gonna depend on us as a people.
Stan, we need to understand that we have a tendency in our
Mm-mm,
brains and our
mm-mm,
actions to hand over our lives to someone else.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You need to keep that responsibility of what happens in your life as well. So even if you vote for a party, you need to keep that party accountable. You
That's
have
right.
a duty. Ik het vir jou my vote
Mm-hmm.
gegee, and now I'm keeping you accountable
Yes.
for the promises that you made.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be on their case, not klagen vote, nou gaan sit ek hier
Yeah.
agter, ek doen my eie ding. That's
Yeah.
it. No. As a people, we need to flow and we need to move together to ensure and support that individual that you voted for to be able to honor the commitments.
That's right.
We are allowing a minority, because remember, you put all these people in for the city and as ministers and whatever, because you put them there, right? But
Yeah.
how much action, if we were to stand up as a people and say, ons het vir jou hulle gevout, vandag maak ons, julle gaan doen wat julle moet doen.
That's
I'm
right.
going to give you an example. We are in the 16 days of activism for gender-based violence, and I believe it's 365 days a year now. Stan, remember, I come from a background where I was a specialist prosecutor in sexual offences matters.
Yeah.
So your GBV matters, maintenance, domestic violence, all I goodness. I've got people say, how do you handle it? And would you go back? I would go back, but for the fact that I know how corrupt the justice system is. It starts off with the investigations from when the matters happening and the investigations are being done and the statements are taken. The mess is there even before it hits the court. And even when it hits court, it's completely messed up. So the corruption is there. But once again, what are we doing to keep the courts responsible, prosecutors and SAPs responsible? But then also very important, like you mentioned, that PT and that uncle that covers for those gangsters, they too need to be held responsible. Want op die einde van die dag, spyt kom te laat. When it's their kid that is impacted, dan chunk hulle crocodile tears. Maar hulle forget that they were part and parcel of covering for the gangsters. I mean, it becomes like a situation when I enter into certain areas where, you know, they make the gangster into a hero. Where's the days when people saw SAPs or law enforcement in hulle is bang? Also, kinders, is he bang for law enforcement of SAPSy? No. They don't fear them. They make a joke out of them. So the thing is, once again, the respect, it's gone. Once again, if a kid doesn't know to stand up for an elderly person in a bus or to help someone with the groceries, I mean, I come from days where the gangsters had respect, where gangsters saw an old lady with parcels, die gangsters om te gaan help om vir haar ou vrou te gaan help.
That's right.
Things has changed. Empathy is lost. We need to bring all that back. Once again, it comes back to faith. We need to, our foundation of our people, it's crumbling. We all these things that's happening, all this sexualization of our children in the schools, met al die goedes wat hulle vir ons kinders wil leer. Far too early and far too young to be teaching a child playing with the cars and the Barbie dolls, all this nonsense. If you watch kiddies programs, Stan, animated movies, they are seriously trying to normalize many things that goes against our religion, and they're teaching the kids this. Why are we getting kids as young as 12, 8, 9, busy with sexual activities?
Yeah.
So we need to go back to our roots, and we need to weed out all that weeds that is happening. But ek sê vir jou, Here, even if we're going to use the poisons, gaan it a tough job. But you know what? Like you said, there's hope. There is good politicians amongst us, but forget the politicians. There is more good people than good politicians amongst us. Get those people together, mobilize. Let's take our country back. Let's take our rights of our children back. And I'm sure that we can lead, if we lead by example, if we change a portion of the Cape Flats at a time and clean it out,
Mm,
we can really do something about this. But we can't do it alone. Even as
that's
a
right.
politician, I can't do it alone. I need all of you to come and assist.
That's right. That's right. Advocate Samima, I wanna before I end off, it's 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. I want to just give you the last words on gender-based violence. You were an advocate. You know the system. You know what happens out there to corruption. Any word of encouragement for a man or a woman that might be going through a situation where they are gender-based violence, victim.
To our people out there, and I've spoken about this quite often, I've seen the trauma of someone who is
Mhm.
sexually abused, male and female. I've consulted with very, very young children on sexual abuse and the trauma thereof. Be kind to yourself if you have been in that position, right? At the end of the day, don't be afraid to speak up. Take your power back. Vat dit terug. Take your
Mm.
power back. Report the matter, right? Don't be afraid to report the matter. That's very important. Even if I know some people doesn't want to report the matter because hulle is bang oor wie gaan wat sê, or they're scared that this justice system is going to fail them. But at the end of the day, there are people that's willing to support. Stan, you've got my Facebook page. Hulle kan van my inbox. Where I can assist, I will assist. I've always
Mm.
assisted. But at the end of the day, if you see something, if you know something's happening in someone's life, if you're concerned about something that is not right,
Mm.
speak up. That's
Mm.
very, very important. Sister Sarah, take your power back. It
Mm.
belongs to you. You know,
That's
at
right.
the end of the day, there are people, there are institutions, daar is mense wat julle wil help.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to take your power back. Now, there's many other factors. I mean, we just don't talk about sexual abuse. There's
Mm.
psychological abuse. Take your
That's
power
right.
back.
Mm.
There's economic abuse. Die maintenance stories en alles. Da's een van die dinge wat ons baklei. It's very
Mm.
close to my heart. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I want to appeal, men and women,
Mm.
please, the kids didn't ask to be on this earth, right? Do what's right by them, right? Take the power back and do what is just and right by your kids. That
Mm.
ek wil net julle sê eendag gaan julle oud wees. Wie gaan agter
Yeah.
julle kyk? You know? So if you want to lead by example with your kids. And
Mm.
at the end of the day, take your power back. Please report these matters where it comes to economic abuse and all. There's so many, even social media is a problem, Stan. There's
That's right.
abuse on social media. People understand that it's a criminal offense to be socially to commit social media abuse against your
Mm.
partner,
Yeah.
against a child, against a friend.
Mm.
It's a criminal offense. Be
Yeah.
alert to your actions. Learn to be kind.
Mm.
Learn to have faith. Be
Mm.
God conscious, and everything will come to its place.
Thank you so much. And it is true what you say is that we need to learn to be kind. We also vinnig op ons page and we want to fight things on Facebook. I think we need to sit down and we need to realize that there is consequences when you say the wrong things on Facebook as well. Advocates, Mima, thank you so much for your time. It's an hour. Ons het baie gepraat, maar min gepraat.
Daar's nog
For
baie
an
om
hour.
oor te praat.
But we will definitely catch up again. Thank you so much. I know you're busy for making yourself available. And I'll be in contact with you. I think we should continue this type of conversations with our people. I think there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of people, and some of them have load shedding. They will come back later on or tomorrow and rewatch this. But thank you so much for joining us and for making yourself available, Advocate.
Stan, I just want to say thank you to you for this awesome program. Jy weet, I don't always go on lives and all kinds of things, but
Yeah.
to be with you, my brother, it's an honor. Keep up the
Thank
good
you.
work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Advocate. I'll
Right.
chat with you soon again. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and yeah, all the best.
Keep well. Bye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Advocate Samima. She joined us tonight. She is at the Al Jamal party. You guys can follow her on Facebook. Advocacy is also a counselor. I want you guys to follow her. I want you guys. There's a lot that we can learn from one another. And also, let us, as she mentioned, let us take back our party, our power. Not a party, our power. Let us take back our power not only when it comes to gender-based violence, but as citizens in these communities of ours, let us fight the good fight. Let us stand up for one another. It's very important for us that we as a people stand together. We are not going to accomplish anything if we don't unite. We're not going to accomplish anything if we're not going to take hands, irrespective of your religion, irrespective of our color. I have been taught something over the last couple of months, years, and a lady came to me a couple of weeks back and said to me, you guys need to get out of your comfort zone and go into other areas, and us need to go into other areas, into your areas as well. So I think that is the thing is that we need to stand up and go into the areas we're not used to and meet new people and see things through, differently through the eyes of other people as well. But thank you so much for tuning in. It was awesome having you guys. Thank you for the questions. Antina Dima, yes, you need to continue. Thank you, Rotardia, Khadija. Yes, shukran to both of you. It was an awesome show. Please do share this live broadcast so that more people can know that there's really people working out there, people doing their best to fix the Cape Flats and South Africa and Cape Town. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Have an awesome evening and God bless you guys. Cheers.